Today on another episode of Dimensions, Daryl Barr's here, and my guest is Jesse Buck, who does so many different things. We're going to talk a lot about the Chocolate Groove dance celebrations he does, and he's going to introduce himself. He's got his crystal bowl and other things. So let's hear it, Jesse.
Yeah, brother. Thank you so much, Daryl, for having me on this beautiful show. This space is incredible. I'm really blessed, really grateful. But yeah, before I dive into the chocolate dance party magic that I'll be talking about and all those things, I thought it'd be cool just to introduce myself very quickly and also this beautiful crystal quartz singing bowl that I have in my hand. So my name is Jesse Buck. You can find me on all social media platforms. I throw chocolate dance parties in Toronto, and I've been doing it for years. I'm a sound healer. I work with crystal quartz singing bowls, and I thought just to really initiate us in this beautiful conversation that I'd just play this bowl for you at home just for about 20-30 seconds. So if you're so inclined and like to indulge in a little bit of a meditation, I invite you just to try to breathe into your belly a few times, just a few deep belly breaths, and just let the sound of this quartz crystal singing bowl cleanse and clear the mind of thought. Taking a breath and letting it out. So the beautiful thing about these crystal quartz singing bowls is that they are just emitting a beautiful, perfect pitch, pure tone vibration coming from quartz crystal, which is an amplifier. And everything in the universe is made up of vibration. Everything is made up of atoms that have a proton and neutron that are flying around each other that are vibrating at a certain frequency. So this is a very dense frequency. I am a dense frequency, but we are all just simply frequency. So when I play these quartz crystal singing bowls, they just emit this beautiful tone of frequency, and also we are made up mostly of water. So when I play the bowl, you're actually just starting to resonate with the frequency of the bowl. And not only your body, but your mind is made up mostly of water as well, your brain. So your brain waves shift from beta to alpha very quickly. Nice. So thank you for having me here today. Yeah.
And you've said sometimes that you're not afraid to bring that out on the subway even and start playing for people?
No way, yeah. I'm doing all the things. Yeah. Every time I go out into public, I figure why not bring one of these magical tools, because a lot of people had never experienced. I was just saying earlier that I was on the subway on the way here, and there was this husky and it was smelling at my bag, and the lady's like, is that a food bowl or something? And I was like, oh no, it's actually a crystal bowl. She's like, what? So I pull it out, and everyone in the streetcar is like, or the subway is looking at me like, what is this thing? And I start playing, and this baby walks on. The baby's just like, oh my god. And just to have people like really tune into the present moment for that short period of time, I think is a pretty special experience.
Yeah, it's definitely counter the sounds we usually get here. Like usually during one of these shows, an ambulance happens like almost every time, because it's that chaos sound, and this is
the
like
noise
the
pollution of the city is like constant, ever constant.
Yeah, so this is the grounding, sort of counters that a little bit, helps us all out. That's nice. That's nice. So tell us a bit about these. What does Chocolate Groove Dance Party
Oh my god,
really
well,
mean?
you know what? I feel like the best way to do it is to show a little clip of a little video I made. This is live audio and live video from the Chocolate Groove. Let's cue that beautiful
We're
bit.
going to go to that. Right, so I hope everyone enjoyed that video. That gives you a little taste of what this looks like. It's
a little taste,
a little ecstatic dance with a little cacao thrown in. Now, what's the effect of cacao? Tell us a bit about that.
Well, we're totally indulging in cacao right now.
Right now, here it is.
It's beautiful. I wish this was full. Sadly, it's empty. I'd share with all of you, but yeah, cacao is basically the rawest form of chocolate. It comes from these little beans, as you can see in this video. You can see the little beans there. It's actually a big, delicious fruit. It's kind of like nature's Oreo cookie, where inside it's kind of a milky white, sweet texture, and then there's these nice little bitter black seeds. Now those seeds go through a long process of being dried and roasted just slightly, and then those beans are crushed and made into cacao paste. I take that paste, I blend it up with hot water, I add some cayenne, ginger, cinnamon, sea salt, and maple syrup, some coconut cream, and make a delicious chocolate drink. And you know, the beautiful thing about cacao, oh my God, so many beautiful things about cacao. But
it's called the elixir of the gods.
They call it's the food of the gods.
Food of
it's
the
actually
gods. Okay.
Beta-thymine is the active ingredient in cacao, which gets us really high. But theobroma is the name that was given to the plant of cacao. Theo meaning food, broma, gods. The food of the gods. Yes, it's quite a powerful medicine. And yeah, it's an energizer, libido enhancer. It's got loaded with like neurotransmitters such as anandamide. And if you're familiar with Sanskrit, ananda means bliss. So this and all chocolate is, you shouldn't say that, not all chocolate, but all real dark chocolate is loaded with anandamide, which is why we love it. It's the bliss molecule.
Okay, so just to simplify, is cacao like, let's say, 90% dark chocolate on the market, or
no?
how, okay,
we're talking
so
like
about that.
we're talking like 5% of the cacao on the market right now would be real cacao, unless you're buying like cacao beans or cacao paste or like a really good raw dark chocolate such as Giddy Yo-Yo or Choco Soul.
Right.
Represent.
Choco Soul.
Choco
Yeah.
Soul.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time you're actually getting cocoa mass powder, which is just completely stripped of all of its oil and all of its good fats and all of the goodness of it has been taken away. It's chocolate has actually been bastardized since, you know, the conquistadors came and took the cacao seeds and they brought it over back to England and they started making their different chocolates. So it's been a kind of an interesting journey with cacao, but it's really coming back in full force because it's just the movement of mental health and wellness is just exploding in our culture right now.
So this is getting it back to the roots. Now, where did you come into contact with this? How, like, what was your journey?
Well, you know, like, I had always had a little bit of an addiction to chocolate. I just always, like, I remember, like, some nights when I was really deep in my yoga journey where I'd stay home and be practicing yoga and reading spiritual texts, and I'd just be eating chocolate, just, like, loving it, letting it melt in my mouth, and it was just such a sensual experience. And then I met my best friend and mentor, Darren Austin Hall, who's been a beautiful person for me to like really initiate these things in the world. But yeah, he started making these like delicious cacao elixirs when he came back from Costa Rica, and he was in Pachamama, this beautiful resort, and he started making these delicious cacao elixirs, and we would just drink the cacao, you know, and just vision and dream and talk and manifest, and we'd just be so full of love and connection to our heart, and just like, wow, it's just so powerful. And then after, you know, a little while of time, I decided to go down to Guatemala and go to San Marcos, which is like a little nexus. Basically, it's a big, beautiful lake, Lake Atitlan, surrounded by mountains and 3 epic volcanoes that are dormant. They're dormant. There is one active volcano, Fuego, which is in Antigua. But yeah, I went to San Marcos and connected to the cacao shaman, Keith Wilson. He's like a 70-year-old, 80-year-old like guy from California. He's actually a geologist, so he moved there mainly to help the government, like to help like organize like how to build bridges and roads and how to deal with the issues of the rainy season. But then the cacao plant spirit started talking to him and started to be like, hey, it's time to start sharing it. And yeah, and San Marcos is just lit, man. It is completely lit with cacao. Like every yoga class, every meditation, every sound bath, every ecstatic dance, which is all the time cacao, full on cacao. It's pretty incredible. So that space really inspired me. It wasn't the first time. The first time I came back and I did my full moon cacao ceremonies and I made it more of a meditation, but I soon realized that people on a full moon do not want to meditate.
They want to dance.
They want to dance. So I slowly transformed it into the chocolate groove that we're going to talk about now.
And for those who don't know, like what ecstatic dance is, can you explain that a little bit?
Well, ecstatic dance, you know, has really gone through quite a journey, and I wouldn't even consider what I'm doing an ecstatic dance because there are certain key elements of an ecstatic dance. But you know, the ecstatic dance in Toronto that Julia Ray created just about, I think it was 13 years ago. It was very inspiring for me. And ecstatic dance is basically a space, your bare feet, there's no talking, no alcohol, no drugs, and there's a DJ who plays a DJ set and basically begins with everyone lying on the ground, and the music slowly takes you on this beautiful arc to like just full on, everyone's just losing their minds, yelling and screaming and hooting and hollering, having the best time ever. I like to call that a cacao-gasm. And
there you go. Did you copyright that?
I haven't copyrighted it yet.
Gotta work on that.
So don't steal it, everyone.
I'm stealing.
But yeah, like the key elements are barefoot, no talking, alcohol, substance free, and my Chocolate Groove dance celebration is a little different because it is more of a social atmosphere where it's okay to have a conversation. There's a pillow lounge. You can massage your friend and just chill out, or you can go outside. And since the 17th, cannabis is now legalized. So I have made my event ganja friendly for those who connect to the cannabis.
There it is. Shout out to the Aurora.
Shout out to Aurora. I got my stocks in advance.
You're a lucky man there for that. And so you're doing this every Wednesday now.
Yep, every Wednesday at Alternity.
At Alternity. So do you want to speak? Where is this space?
Yeah, so I'm really lucky to be doing this event at Alternity. Alternity is just an absolutely incredible deluxe venue in Toronto. Like they put a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money into that space to make it what it is. And it's truly remarkable. It's a very exquisite deluxe space. So there's this building and there's this company called, let me show you a company, they're a store called Alternative Thinking, and they sell, they're Blue and Bathurst, and they sell crystals and books, and they have, like superfoods and clothing, and it's all alternative ideas, alternative everything.
So for those who don't know, it's like the only building standing where the big Honest Ed's warehouse was.
The only building that didn't sell out.
It didn't sell out.
So they're going to be this little nook around all these buildings, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
But they opened up this cafe elixir bar called Alternity, which is just down the street at 333 Bloor. Like it doesn't get much more sacred than that. 333 Bloor.
Adding up to 9.
Yeah. And then it's right beside the Bedashi Museum, and it's just a beautiful space. Elixir bar, vegan. We're talking like they have an elixir for every chakra. They have like loads of teas and coffees, and of course, cacao. So it's an incredible space. If you guys haven't checked it out, they're open 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. and then they close for the Chocolate Groove.
And it seems like there's events almost every night there too.
Yeah, they're really rocking it. They're really rocking it. You can find them Alternity on Facebook and Instagram, all those things.
And with the bowls, you're also is there an element of the crystal bowls at these parties or?
Yep, totally. Yeah, I would not have it any other way. I always like to end the dances with a little crystal bowl sound bath. So I usually bring 4 or 5 my 432 hertz bowls, and they're all perfectly pitched and perfectly tuned, just to create an ambiance and a frequency of everyone just to integrate. Because the experience is so huge. It's like literally a little Burning Man every single Wednesday for 4 hours. Like you go and it's just, you're at center camp. The lights, the music, the vibe, the people, the energy, it's all there. So to conclude something like that with a crystal bowl sound bath is just the creme on top of everything else.
There it is. And you do other events as well with the bowls sometimes? And
I'll do lots of sound healing events. I do a sound bath every Sunday called Sound Bath Sundays with Jesse. And I usually do that from my home, but I'm looking for a location. It's probably going to be Alternity in November, where I'll be doing them live, so people can fully come and tap into these beautiful frequencies.
And what do you feel this frequency can do for people? Like when you've got all the bowls going? Yeah,
like really, truly, it just helps people to bring them into the present moment, right? Like, how often are our minds wandering? Like I do workshops with kids. I work with the Youth Wellness Network, and I'm doing all these beautiful workshops with youth in Toronto, and we have between 60 to 80,000 thoughts in a day that run through our mind. That means our mind is going through a lot of processing all the time. And very rarely do we find ourselves in the present moment, which is why, mindfulness and meditation as a practice to help us familiarize ourselves with that present moment is so important. And so when I play these bowls, the frequency is just so powerful. It cleanses the body, it cleanses the mind, it brings us into resonance, and it really brings us into that present moment awareness. And I had some people who have never experienced the bowl before. They're just there for the party, they're just there for the dance, and then all of a sudden they're like finishing being like, Jesse, like, what'd you do to me, man? I'm like the most calm I've ever been in my life. Like, oh my God. And so to have that as an extra element on top is just such a pleasure to share.
Cool. And where do you see this going in the future? Like few years down the road, maybe? Have you thought of that? Or
I don't know. It's very interesting, like I'm pretty dedicated to just really
And that.
grounding Alternity as like the home of the Chocolate Groove, but I'm open to bringing the Chocolate Groove, chocolate dance parties to yoga studios and businesses and like a lunch and learn chocolate dance party.
Right.
Like really, the idea is chocolate is just an energizer. It allows you to, have that experience of like instead of having a drink of alcohol that lowers your inhibitions, it's kind of doing a similar thing, but it's actually elevating your energy. So to bring that into anywhere, like I have had the dream, truthfully, of opening up my own little cafe, calling it Chocolate Groove, and it would be a chocolate dance party, always and forever.
always and forever. You need a rotating cast of people coming through.
We'll just have a really good DJ
Right.
playlist, and it's just always happening.
Yeah.
There's always good people, and that really is the intention behind the Chocolate Groove. Truthfully,
Right.
for me, before I really entered this healing yoga conscious community, whatever we want
Right.
to call it, I was doing my own solo work, and I felt very alone. It was like, where do I meet the other, like-minded, like holistic, health-conscious human beings? Like, where is everyone? So, I started going to yoga studios, like
Right.
practicing yoga, but you don't talk to anyone in the yoga class, and
Right.
afterwards, it's kind of not the time.
Everyone's leaving. Right.
Everyone's leaving,
Yeah.
and then I go to the Ecstatic dance, and I'd want to connect, and afterwards, I really would. But there was something about the element of like I'd meet someone in that moment, and I kind of wanted just to engage with them. And you go to a bar, and it's like, well, the odds of you meeting someone you actually want to meet at a bar or a club are very limited. So I'm created a space which is, hey, like if you're a conscious human being and you're meditating, you're practicing yoga, you're looking to evolve, and you're really like taking care of yourself, and you want to like celebrate and party in a more holistic and conscious way, like come to the groove, come and like meet other people who are very similar to you. Like I'll be throwing a conscious singles night soon, and it's like that's a perfect opportunity for people to meet each other.
I just want to explore this word conscious. Like when we talk about
Yeah.
consciousness, is that the contrast would be unconscious? Do you feel like there's a dichotomy there between the
Yes.
conscious and the can you
It's hilarious.
explore that a little
It's
bit?
kind of hilarious. Like, how do we label such a thing?
Yeah,
That's the big thing. How do we label such a thing? And for me, like when I think about like conscious, unconscious, like I do meet a lot of people who are really unconscious, and I mean that like they're just really unaware of the decisions that they're making. They haven't really tuned into their bodies yet. They haven't really tuned into their spiritual identity. As like an energetic being having a human experience in this earth dimension. But a conscious human being is just someone who's just a little bit more self-aware, to be very simple.
And do you think that can maybe help heal our world? Because obviously we're heading towards some environmental destruction. We got a bunch of dictators running around,
some
doing things like
dictators
dick,
running
yeah,
around.
dicks. Like is there any chance that this can gain momentum maybe? And,
Absolutely,
and alter
absolutely.
things? Yeah.
I think it's happening. I think with social media and the way that we all have a voice, and that I could be here with you now and talk about chocolate dance parties, which is totally counterculture to the norm of drinking alcohol and getting loaded and drunk and feeling shitty the next day. So I think that there's a mass awakening happening. Like there's so many prophecies that are unraveling right now. The Rainbow Warrior prophecy of Turtle Island. We're talking about the African shamanic tradition of the white lions coming and like bringing forth Christ consciousness, like the South American prophecy of the eagle and the condor, the masculine and feminine energies finally coming into balance. Like it's happening everywhere. And the fact that yoga, finally came to the West and just exploded, and now it's one of the biggest industries we find ourselves in, right? And looking at like ayahuasca and other plant medicines that are just everywhere right now. Like I bet you if we looked at the percentage of the population of humanity that has taken a psychedelic in the last 100 years, 50 years, probably like we're looking at about 50%, maybe even more. Maybe it's less. Maybe I'm overanalyzing.
You might be exaggerating that one, but
But who knows?
Who knows?
The percentage is quite high right now, and I think that's just sparking the awakening.
And do you think there's a danger of things becoming sort of industrialized or mainstreamed and just like cacao, sort of the cacao taken out of chocolate, like the essence taken out of some of these elements that we're talking about here?
You know what? I had this similar conversation with Ryan Michael Kelly the other day where we were talking about how it's becoming mainstream and like how mainstream do we want to get? And I really just like in that moment I was like, yes, this needs to go mainstream.
Right.
We need to get it to the majority of the public, and there will always be those sacred ceremonial elements that other people will hold in what they do. and they'll hold that, and people will find it. But they can't just go from working 9 to 5, getting home, Netflix, making food, getting ready for the next day, and you're on repeat for a few years. You can't just jump into a ayahuasca ceremony or a mushroom ceremony or a cannabis ceremony or a cacao ceremony even, because it's too much for people. But the fact that this stuff is all getting so mainstream and it's becoming business, it's becoming a business and all these different things, I feel like it's just good. It's just like the world needs us right now to share this medicine. The world needs us to just unravel what's really going on right now.
Cool. So it can be the new pop culture in
It's
some
the new
way?
pop culture.
There it is.
I'll be on Much Music in 4 years, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, Jesse, you started this whole chocolate dance party
There you
thing in
go.
Toronto." And now look at it. Now, we're all drinking cacao. Starbucks are going out of business, and who knows what's gonna happen, right? But
Cool.
I have a lot of hope.
Nice.
A lot of hope.
Okay. So maybe end there. I don't know. I think that's
Well, you know
end
what?
on hope.
One
Last
thing,
thoughts. Go ahead.
one thing I didn't get to share was that for anyone who's watching, and if you made it this far, then you're definitely interested. So come on Wednesday. It's the full moon in Taurus. There'll be a link in the comments, I'm sure. And come dance with us. Come connect. Spread the word to your friends. Let's really get it out there. This is a movement of awakening. And if you're really interested in the whole chocolate ecstatic dance, I invite you to go to the Dover Courthouse on Mondays and Thursdays and Fridays even for the move. But it's 7:30 till 9:30, and it's an ecstatic dance. It's unbelievable. And if you really want the chocolate ecstatic dance, look up the Big Love Cacao Ceremony Ecstatic Dance. It's something I do with Darren. We'll be doing it November 18th. It's 300 people. We
Remarkable
get
events.
wild.
Phenomenal events. Yeah.
It's like the Chocolate Groove is a very mini
Like a little
Big Love
taste.
experience.
Yeah. So these are the things. And if you can't make this Wednesday, it's next Wednesday and every other Wednesday at Alternative 333
Halloween
Bloor
the
Street West.
following. We got the
Ooh.
new moon.
Okay.
It's all happening, and it's always cannabis friendly, as I said.
Yeah.
So
it's you can't go wrong.
yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Okay. So there it is. Look up Jesse Buck. You can find him on Facebook. Enjoy.